Delia Chaudhary and I'm the creator of the Perfect Coffee app. This app was inspired by my insane love for coffee, and I wanted to make an easy directory where employees or users at home could find anything they could possibly want right on their phone from one single app. So let's talk about the project idea. The project idea that I submitted on Canvas was that this app will be utilizing core data to keep data stored within the app. On one page, it will have a list of different types of pre-recorded coffees, such as lattes, mocha lattes, pumpkin spice latte, cold brew, etc. You are able to add and label a new coffee on this page. If you click on any of the types, it'll take you to another view controller that contains the recipe along with the UI image picker view and table view. That allows the user to upload their own photo of their coffee when they use that recipe. With each recipe, I'll have all the ingredients and any special order or tip that may be recommended for that type of coffee. You can do that for all the coffee types, including new custom recipes that were created. Lastly, you can enable on another view controller location and maps the closest way to get to Infusion Coffee that is located in Tempe. It'll show you how to get there. I will make sure that this app is really easy to navigate through, and there's a navigation and toolbar to every screen, so you're able to segue between each one. On the first view controller, we'll also have a slide option that will allow the user to delete any of the following coffee types, but why would they possibly want to? So, let me try to explain that in layman's terms. This app allows you to view a bunch of perfectly curated coffee recipes, along with a short summary and picture of that coffee. You are able to add your own coffee or edit an old one, or even delete ones that you don't want. You are then able to edit the recipes and view all of the quick 4-step recipes on the next view controller. Using the guided buttons, you are able to add a picture from your camera roll, map to my favorite coffee shop, which is Infusion Cafe, or quickly Google a coffee you would like. The navigation bar makes it so quick and simple to maneuver between the windows and stay organized. Let's dive further into the class diagrams. If you take a look at my diagram above, you can see that I have 7 different classes. And the first one, it's called Fruit Table View Cell. I'm modeled after an example that we received in class. I made 3 different variables to represent the description, the title, and the image. I also made the table view divided into sections. This was my attempt to make the interface nice and neat and easily manageable. Then I added it in the edit and delete button as a swipe feature. Then the second view controller comes into play. I named this one Detail View Controller. You can see on the diagram that I have a lot of variables for it. Selected fruit, selected city D, selected image, selected title, selected description, selected D2, selected D3, and selected D4. All of these have a unique purpose, of which most of them is from storing information or data from the last slide into this one. Then I made a button called Add Recipe. The Add Recipe button is the first button on the bottom view. It is connected to an alert that gives you 4 text boxes to fill in each step of the recipe. Once you click Save, it uploads it to the recipe so that you can see your new perfectly curated recipe right before you. The ViewDidLoad method makes sure that this whole view controller loads the data. Then, on the bottom of this view controller lies 3 buttons, 3 more buttons actually. If we click on the second button that reads Attach a photo of your creation, it takes you to the Photo Attach class. This class holds a segmented control that allows you to choose to attach the picture from your camera or photo library. If your device does not have a camera, it prints no camera on this device. And if you choose photo library on the segmented control, it guides you to your camera roll where you can select the photo and it attaches it to the view controller. Then it prints an uplifting remark about your picture. Then, going back using the navigation tool back button, you can click on the third button. This is the Google View Controller, which uses Web API. It guides the user to Google or Safari where you're able to quickly Google anything you want about the coffee recipe or ingredients. Now, going back to our Detail View Controller B view controller, we can choose the last button. This is our Map Kit class. Upon clicking the button, it takes you to an MK Map view where you're able to see my favorite coffee shop, called Infusion, mapped with directions on how to get there. You must use the segmented view controller below that to guide the map to show you where the shop is. There's 3 options to make the map a certain type. These options are standard, satellite, or hybrid, which is my favorite. Overall, all of these changes are quickly stored using core data, so that once the app is closed and the program stops running, the user is quickly able to pick up right where they last left off, and it saves any possible additions, edits, or deletions. Moving on, this is my MVC diagram. It contains the three parts of it, which is a view, a controller, and the model/core data. Let's start at the top. So the controller receives coffee names, receives the coffee recipes, it calls the infusion coffee location with API, it handles the coffee profiles, it sends user information and quantity, it receives the current location, and handles user tabs and interactions. Then the view on the bottom left displays the list of coffee names, displays all the segmented controllers, displays the list of coffee recipes, displays the default picture, displays the picker view, draw controllers, tabbed controllers, coffee's complete profile, and then it shows the actual map in standard, satellite, and hybrid format. And also is just making the app looking pretty. Then, lastly, on the bottom right, we have model/core data. So it contains core data, which stores the new coffee recipe profiles. It notifies the controller of data changes in real time, and it provides file storage and data manipulation, and it saves new pictures and words after every entry. So what can my app actually do, aka what are its capabilities? Well, you can view the preset table view cells, you can add a table view cell, you can delete a table view cell, you can edit a table view cell, and it has persistent data storage. So that's data storage implemented using core data. On the very top, it has the navigation bar maneuvering, which has a quick little snippet of what the page does and a forward and back button depending on what page you're on. If you go to the second page, all the buttons that are included is the Google button, the Add Picture button, the Maps button, which contains a segmented controller, and the WebKit, which is used for Google. Another thing I definitely made sure to take advantage of were the alert buttons. As you can see in my code, I added quite a few because I wanted the aesthetic appearance of my app to stay as clean as possible. So I used the alert button on the front page for the add button. When you click the plus button in the top right, it shows up with an alert where you can add the new title or the new description, as well as on the second page when you want to add or edit the recipe. Once you click that button, an alert button pops up where it has the options to put all four in for the recipe. I also made the edit and delete button a swipe feature on the table view. This kept it clean and allowed for easy deletion and editing. Next, let's talk about my app's limitations. Number one, you cannot change the picture on the table view. I made a default picture so that whenever you add a new recipe, it adds the new recipe, but on the table view, you unfortunately can't edit it like you can the title and the description. Another thing that I could have done is made the segues kind of fun and more exciting. I used push for most of them just to keep it clean, just in case I had any issues, but maybe in the future I would use a swipe up or a custom segue. Another thing was the aesthetic of my app. I tried to make it as classy and clean as possible, but for more advanced apps, I think that they have more moving pictures or more interactive things, I guess. The lessons learned from this class, there's so many. The first thing I did was learn to plan ahead and stay organized. I learned that the best way to make an app is to plan it out way beforehand before even starting the code. I used a diagram most of the time, and that was either a class diagram or a use case. It depends on what the app was. I'm also usually a shy person and I hate asking for help, but this was one of the only classes I've ever went to the TAs, and they were actually incredibly helpful. Every time I needed help, I went to them, and they were really open to listening to what my issue was and helping me and really think through it without giving me the answer or being rude back, to be honest. Overall, this class allowed me to look at code from a new, realistic, and more application-based level. Also, using this class, I really learned what MVC architecture was, which I'd always heard at work or school or even in CSE 360 we began learning it, but in this class you really get to use it and apply it to the things you're coding, because before that I kind of just thought it was useless, to be honest. Finally, I learned how to pay attention to deadlines. The structure of the deadlines for this course made this final project very easy to get done in a timely manner and actually made me not hate the assignments because I actually had time to think about it and figure it out. So any suggestions that I had for this class was, I didn't really have many. Genuinely, I did love this class so much. It really made me fall in love with coding and computer science again. I think it's really cool to be able to see code turn into something in real life, something tangible that other people are able to use. I learned about how you're able to make apps, publish it to the App Store, all of that whole process. I think for future semesters, I think it would be cool to make more game-based assignments. That last extra lab was super fun, and I think it would be cool to have that mandatory for students to use, because I think that more people would actually produce and use a game app. Genuinely, I'm really sad that this class is over because I really had fun making all of these fun apps using alerts and MVC architecture, navigation bar, and the data source and delegate. And I definitely think I'm going to be taking away a lot of information from this class, and hopefully I'll get to do this again for my capstone or any projects in the future. Thank you.